Welcome to Hooked on Football, your go-to podcast for everything NFL. Whether you're a lifelong fan or just getting into the game, we're here to break down the action on and off the field. Each week, we'll dive into the latest news from around the league, including game recaps, picks and predictions, fantasy advice, analysis and insights. From injury reports to power rankings and everything in between, we'll keep you connected to all things NFL. In order to keep up with us, please like, share, subscribe, and follow, because once you're hooked on football, there's no looking back. We just wrapped up week 8 in the NFL. Yeah. So season is almost halfway over. I guess technically halfway because we're halfway through the week.
Yeah.
This past week was National Tight Ends Day.
Yeah.
Sunday specifically.
A lot of big things this week.
Yeah.
New studio. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Getting more official.
Mm-hmm.
Tight ends actually set an NFL record on National Tight Ends Day with 177 catches. And they also had 1,965 yards, which was second all-time, and 16 touchdowns, which I believe tied for 8th all-time.
Yeah.
So kind of cool that
so
the
crazy.
Offensive coordinators scheme up plays for the tight ends on National Tight Ends Day.
Yeah, it was definitely intentional.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell in watching some, because I remember not Laporta, their other.
Brock Wright.
Yeah, like who?
Well, the Lions and the Broncos both had 2 tight end touchdowns, I
Yeah.
believe, and their tight ends, besides Laporta, are
Yeah,
whatever.
definitely schemed up. But that's
which is cool.
That's dope. Yeah.
But also, teams are going to catch on and start double teaming tight ends on Tight End Day.
So then next year, tight ends get nothing.
Nothing.
And then into some of the more bummer of news. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL.
Yeah.
So obviously out for the season. And he's a free agent this offseason, so kind of sucks a lot for him because he's going to have to get
probably going to go less on the market.
Yeah, one of those like prove it deals where make sure he's still good.
Yeah.
But on the plus side for the Texans, Collins will be back in a couple weeks. And then also Hutchinson and Woods. So
yeah. Prior to the season, they had one of the deepest wide receiver rooms. I don't remember if they released or traded Noah Brown, who just had the game-winning catch for the Commanders. Yeah. But yeah, they should be all right until Collins comes back, I would think.
Yeah, that's a deep wide receiver room, and then it also got thin real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, Dell will be the number one for, I think it's a couple weeks before Collins comes back.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk also out for the season. Broke his collarbone against the Packers. Seemed to be in quite a bit of pain. He was writhing on the field quite a bit.
Yeah.
Little side note, Parker Washington might be worth looking at in fantasy. They got Brian Thomas as the number one, clearly.
Yeah.
Parker Washington had the second most targets on Sunday, and that was with Kirk getting injured in the fourth quarter. So
Did Thomas get hurt in that game?
Yeah, I think he's all right.
Was it something minor? I guess I didn't follow that
so.
at all.
And then, obviously, they have Evan Ingram, too, a sick touchdown catch.
Yeah, that was...
Through pass interference.
With 3 dudes.
Yeah.
3 stud
kind of.
DBs.
Jair got hurt on that play. Kind of
he
was out of it. But
falling out of the bag.
Yeah.
But he did it right in front of Jair, which makes it look cooler.
Right. Yeah, one of the best corners in the league.
Yeah. And then also Jordan Love, new minor injury, so I can't tell if I like that better than a retweak of the knee or worse, because now he's got 2 things that might linger for a while.
What was the original sprain?
MCL was the original sprain, and then now the groin, but no actual damage, so he'll be day-to-day. I imagine, just based off of him and then also the situation, that he'll probably play Sunday.
Yeah.
I kind of want him to just sit and take that and then the bye week and see what Malik can do against the Lions. I realize that's a big shift that puts you in first, kind of control your destiny at that point, but also hard to control your destiny if he aggravates these things worse against a tough team. But then also, Lions pass rush hasn't been crazy good the last couple of weeks. So.
Unless they make a trade before Sunday, which I doubt.
Right.
If they did,
even if they did,
not going to be up to speed.
So maybe not a big deal to start him because he should be okay sitting back there.
Yeah, there's kind of two ways to look at it because you can either sit him and give him an extra week of rest, or you can play him knowing that he's going to get an extra week of rest with the bye week coming up.
So
as long as you don't think he's at major risk of re-aggravating or making it worse.
Yeah. And Green Bay's medical team, they're notoriously conservative, so I'm sure they won't let him play unless he's ready to go. So
yeah.
Although it seemed like they did that against Minnesota earlier this year, so
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I hope he plays.
Big game.
Yeah, huge game. Fun game to watch.
Fun game.
In Lambeau. In other news, Joe Flacco was named the starter for the Colts this week and going forward. If any of you saw Anthony Richardson this week, he was unimpressive when he was in the game, and then he checked himself out because he said he was tired. Even if that's your reason for taking yourself out, don't say that.
Also, dude, you're drafted for your freak athleticism.
Yeah.
You're 22. I don't think 22-year-olds got tired.
Right.
So, bad luck.
And you can stay in and audible to a running play.
Right.
Or
I've never seen that.
Which the play he came out for was running play.
Right. Well, was that because they just all of a sudden threw... Maybe that was the call because they just threw Flacco in.
Flacco in, yeah. Could be, but I mean...
Either way, just audible to a running play. Don't.
Correct.
You don't set yourself. That's bad luck. Bad luck.
Yeah. He wasn't, like I said, he wasn't playing well anyway, but he was 2 for 15 at the half, I believe, and one of those was on a wide open blown coverage, and he underthrew, I believe, Josh Downs.
Yeah.
It went for a touchdown, but he almost missed it.
Yeah.
Like you said, he was supposed to be kind of an all-world athlete. A lot of talent. Yeah. Looked pretty good when he was playing last year before he got injured.
And, I mean, this year
not so much.
He hasn't been, I don't feel like he's been awful yet.
No.
Obviously, 2-15 isn't great. Yeah. And he didn't look good the whole game. But
and I feel like the Colts have a pretty good roster.
Yeah. But that's bad luck, bad leadership, bad all around.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
The NFL definitely has a quarterback development problem, though. There's a lot of young quarterbacks that get benched way too soon and kind of ruins their psyche before they even...
Green Bay's the only one that's got it figured out.
Yeah. I give Green Bay props for that. They've definitely got that figured out, bringing in young quarterbacks and letting them sit for a few years and learning behind. You guys just continuously
Hall of
have
Famers.
MVP, all-time great quarterbacks.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm
not going to complain.
Anyways.
Yeah, Brock Bowers, obviously having a great season, especially as a rookie. He's on pace to break the rookie receiving record for tight ends.
By quite a bit.
Yeah,
he's already halfway
receptions. There. Yeah, I was just looking. He's already 586, so he's on
something like that. Yeah.
He's on pace for, 1,400 yards this season. Yeah. I don't know how many games they've played. I don't remember if they've had their bye yet, but so definitely offensive rookie of the year candidate.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get more into that next week, though. Those early predictions.
Yes, sir. Interesting fact: the Jets are terrible.
Yeah.
So teams in all of NFL history.
That was it. That was the whole fact.
That's the pod. Teams are 750 and 1, which includes the playoffs, when they score 20 points, have 0 turnovers, and allow fewer than 250 yards. And the one loss was the New York Jets on Sunday to the lowly New England Patriots with their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
The Jets are a mess.
To be fair, their backup, I think right now is better than...
Yeah. Well, he was a starter.
Yeah,
start the season,
but regardless, if you're the one team out of 751 teams that have been in that situation that actually lost, you suck.
Yeah.
That's bad.
That's a wild stat.
That's bad.
Not great.
Rams, moving on. Rams have granted cornerback Tre'Davious White permission to seek a trade. I guess I don't know. He used to be good. Is he still?
He was real good for Buffalo. He signed with the Rams this offseason. He was demoted.
Okay.
From a starting position.
Okay.
But it seems like you said, he's been good in the past. So
yeah.
it seems like I know he wants to play for a contender, which I if the Rams keep playing like they did on Sunday, they
good.
could be.
Well, did they look good, or did Minnesota look like Minnesota again?
Both. The Rams'
Yeah.
offenses.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp came back off that injury, still looking like that guy.
Puka, too.
And
He
Puka,
was like a last-minute
activation. What did he... Puka had, like, something crazy, like 17 targets or some crap.
Yeah.
But no, both of them... I guess I was just saying Cooper because I saw him make a couple pretty sweet, nice contested catches, and they looked good again, and Stafford looked like Stafford, so
yeah,
might be trying to leave too soon, Tre'Davious, but either way, I know there'd been a lot of talks about Green Bay looking for another corner. Don't know why, maybe just for some depth, because there was some ties with them to Newsome over in Cleveland. So maybe that's a good option. If he's demoted, maybe they won't need too much. And as we'll get into, looks like trades are going for basically absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
their teams are just like, hey, here's a guy.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Deontay Johnson traded today to Baltimore, and they basically gave up nothing. They gave up a late 5th-round pick, getting a 6th back from the Panthers, which will obviously be a high pick. So, yeah, they're moving back maybe 10 or so picks to pick up a young, talented wide receiver. Great move for them. You can't convince me that the Panthers couldn't have gotten more than that for him, but I don't know. Bad franchise make bad moves. So
yep,
tis trade season.
Yeah. And then another thing, I think my stuff got out over something weird.
No, I skipped ahead to Deontay Johnson.
Okay. Broncos pass rusher Baron Browning and Jonathan Cooper are reportedly on the trade block too, which I know of a couple teams that could have
pass rusher is one of those positions that every team should be looking for. You can't have too much depth.
Yeah.
If you rotate in a bunch of good pass rushers, the better you're going to be.
Yep. Obviously, Lions could use one. Although, I was going to say Packers too. Their pass rush, I guess, has been sneaky good. I was looking at some stats. They're a little bit higher up there in sacks than I realized, and their pressure rate is remarkably high, especially considering they blitz like almost the least, but their pressure rate was like the highest. This was a couple weeks ago, I think, when I saw this. Their pressure rate was like the highest in the NFL, but then also their blitz rate was like one of the lowest. So front four guys are getting there.
They've got some talent at the position.
I think the first few weeks they weren't getting a ton of sacks, and that was why I was thinking. I think that was why I was down on them for a little bit. But they've been getting there. They've been playing a lot better. So maybe they don't need anybody, but I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, for sure. The Vikings also made a trade today, trading for left tackle Cam Robinson from the Jaguars after their starting left tackle Christian Darrisaw went down with a torn ACL in their
big loss
Thursday night game.
Big loss.
Yeah, rough week, rough 5 days for the Vikings. Two losses. Lost their starting left tackle,
who was darn good.
Yeah, both their tackles were very good. But being able to get a starting caliber left tackle in the middle of the season is
hopefully
good for them.
Starting caliber lost his spot, his starting position.
Yeah,
but
all they had to do is swap conditional late round picks. It sounds like mid to late round picks. So, I mean, that's one of the most important positions on the field. So, and they're obviously off to a pretty good start. So, worth any risk involved.
Yeah. Out of the trading and injury news, Jameson Williams got some more drama going on. A few weeks ago, he was involved in a traffic stop, and he was a passenger in the vehicle, but it sounds like there was one gun, maybe multiple, like under his seat, within reach, obviously illegal. So they're, I think, looking a little bit more into that. So we'll see what comes of that over the next couple of weeks. Yep. Might not ever make it out of his suspension. That would suck.
interesting that it apparently happened on October 8th.
Yeah.
How it
3 weeks
hasn't
ago.
gotten out. It seems like
Yeah.
it's hard to keep stuff secret anymore
Well,
these
they
days.
kept
But
homeboy Josh Reynolds. His shooting that he was involved in under wraps, got shot in the arm and the head, but was fine. So
yeah. For some reason, when you said Josh Reynolds, I was thinking Josh Gordon from a few years back. He always had a bunch of trouble. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was involved in a shooting too.
Yeah, no.
No, I got you. We're on the same page now.
Yeah.
How many of you watched the game Monday night? George Pickens had which neither of us knew this was a rule, had a catch in the back of the end zone where he double tapped 1 foot.
Rather, we both thought this was a rule.
Correct. Yeah, which apparently does not qualify as 2 feet down, even though 1 foot twice seems harder than 2 feet or harder than a knee or your butt.
Yeah. First, I thought I was just dumb because I thought that and it wasn't. But then when he also had a memory of that rule, we've had a couple of those lately. So I was a little like, maybe that should be, maybe it used to be. And then also another rule that we were all confused on was the punt thing. I didn't think that I thought after a safety it was a punt, and I didn't think you could onside kick that.
Yeah.
We talked about that happened. What game was that? A couple weeks. That was 2 weeks ago now. But yeah, another weird rule that we both thought we knew was one thing, but then wasn't. So I don't know if stuff's changing and we just didn't realize, or maybe we just don't know football. Maybe we're not so hooked on football.
Last bit of news, I guess. You go ahead and take it.
Yeah. So I'm sure at this point you've all seen the lovely Hail Mary at the end of the Washington-Chicago game that I had texted him right before. I hate the NFL.
With some choice words.
Yeah, because obviously never want the Bears to win. Hate the Bears. Go Pack.
Especially when they're clearly not the better team on the field.
Right. So was pretty mad they were about to win that one. Texted him, I hate the NFL. And then 2 minutes later, Hail Mary, Commanders win. Texted him, I love the NFL. But after that, I saw a clip that was fake at first. Tyreek Stevenson basically walking down the sideline. Allegedly, he was celebrating with Bears fans that was in the stands. Either way, bad luck.
Not much better.
Play started. Receivers made it 30, 40 yards down the field before he even looked. And then even after he looked, it seemed like there was a full second of hesitation. And then ran over, got involved in the play. And when I say got involved, he got involved. He went over there, tipped the ball up right to Brown in the end zone and lost it for him. So good job.
I also saw prior to the game, there was some, I almost said Redskins, Commanders fans on the sideline that were John back and forth with him. And I don't know if they were legitimate, but basically making wagers on the game. And he shook on the wagers. So he's now being investigated. I don't know how serious they'll take it, but
that's kind of fun.
Not a great look for Tyreek Stevenson.
No.
I think I heard that he apologized to the team today, which he
apologized to the team. I think since then he's handled it well. He immediately posted an apology. And then obviously the following days were not fun
I'm sure.
in the facilities. But no, him made that bit where he's making wagers beforehand, kind of leaning more towards he was talking crap to Commanders fans.
On the final play?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me.
It did, especially because it did one of those. Yeah. You're probably not going to do that when you're celebrating with your fans.
Plus, it was in Washington. So.
What? It was in Washington?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because the fans went nuts when they got the
to
win the game.
Yep. For some reason, I was thinking it was in Chicago, but.
Yeah, big win. Yeah. Big win for the Commanders. The matchup of the number 1 and number 2 quarterback. I was really happy to see Jaden Daniels play.
Jaden Daniels clearly the QB1 out of the 2024 season. We already knew it. It was just fun to see it play out because Williams was bad in that game. Until the end, he had a few good plays, but...
Yeah. Washington settled for way too many field goals, let the Bears hang in it.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's time to dive into the hooked hierarchy. the part of the pod where we unveil our top 10 NFL squads, ranking teams based on performances, stats, and maybe a little bias. Who's rising to the top and who's slipping down the ranks. Get ready for some heated debates and some surprising picks as we break down the best of the best.
Yeah, so this week was tough.
Yeah,
was
same.
Alarmingly tough.
I changed mine multiple
right
times.
In the mid to upper ranks. I was struggling, but this is where we landed. So my new number 10, I have got the Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't think they were going to make it in here until the last couple of weeks, but they're winning very convincingly, and Saquon has been good. The whole team, has been good. They just took down the Bengals, which haven't been super impressive, but they're supposed to be good. So
yeah,
I don't even remember.
They're talented if nothing else.
Right. I don't remember what the score was, but they beat them.
Not close.
It wasn't close. It wasn't a good game. Yeah, so they're making their way up there. It's starting to look like hopefully for them, a playoff team might get into a wild card. I don't think they're taking out the Commanders, but
yeah.
But yeah,
they haven't yet to play each other, so
no.
Still have two of those. That's going to be obviously always is big in deciding who wins that division. But.
Yeah, they're definitely got themselves back in the running, because it's obviously not the Giants or the Cowboys that are going to take that division. So
right. At my number 10, I had the Minnesota Vikings. A bit of a fall after losing 2 games in 5 days, and losing their left tackle. I still think that they're a pretty dangerous team. I think they still make the playoffs. Just a little rough patch here. We'll see what they look like going forward, but I had them down to number 10 this week. At number 9, I have the 49ers. Coming off, I guess you could say, big win against the Cowboys. Cowboys are not good, but 49ers seem to be playing better than they were early in the season. They're going to get McCaffrey back after the bye week this week. And I just believe that they're going to be around towards the end. Got too much talent there.
Yeah.
Good coaching, solid defense. Fred Warner's such a beast.
Dude, he is. I like Fred Warner a lot.
Maybe my favorite player, not on one of my teams. Up there.
And I hate the Niners because I'm a Packers fan. They've been the bane of my existence the last little bit. Yeah. I like Fred Warner a lot. Though I went a different route. I did not. Niners aren't in my top 10 yet. I think that I think they'll get there, but as it sits right now, I don't have them there. My number 9, I've got the Steelers. Is Russell Wilson back? Was he sandbagging in Denver?
It sure seems that way.
Although him and Peyton hated each other, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't think Peyton wasn't around when they made the move for Wilson. And I think just everything that went on with Wilson off the field, not like character issues, just him being kind of
just him being super lame and saying, "I'm Mr. Unlimited."
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to coach that.
Yeah. Sean Payton doesn't mess around. I don't think those two ever meshed. And then before that, it was obviously Hackett and
and we
have
figured out that he's not great.
Yeah, good locker room guy.
Good locker room guy, but shouldn't be coaching head coach. Maybe not even offensive coordinator, but I won't get too much into that. We've talked about the Jets enough, and they suck. So
no more Jets.
Moving on. Other than they're cooked.
Other than this is my not prediction, but kind of a thought that I had. If a contender loses a quarterback this week, any chance any team looks into trading for Rodgers?
I think that they should, but I don't think they will, just because of how things have gone. I think that at this point, nobody wants him. Maybe for good reason, maybe just for the perceived image of him. I think that that's terrible organization. It makes absolutely zero sense why they're so bad. Rodgers hasn't been Rodgers of the 2010s, but he hasn't been. He hasn't been bad. He's been fine. He's been fine to good. And then they have so much other talent, so like none of it makes sense. So I think someone should. I don't think they will. I think that he's going to stay there and rot and tarnish his legacy. Should have probably just retired, went off into the sunset. But who knows? Like we've said every week, I think this is the week they'll turn it around. Was that believable? But anyways, like I said, Russ has looked good. They, I think, would have won that game by even more. They had a couple touchdowns either called back or that didn't count. Najee's looking good again. Obviously, that defense is great. Watt is an absolute animal. I think they're gonna be right in these rankings for the rest of the season. And then also, like we said last week, their coach is Black Jesus.
Yeah,
Mike Tomlin is obviously a great coach. So,
yep.
And then I have at number 8. I didn't knock them as far as you did, but I felt good knocking them this far. The Minnesota Vikings. Last week, all I saw was Minnesota is still Minnesota, and Darnold is Darnold. And looks like they're on track for a repeat of 2016, where they came out real hot with Sam Bradford. They were 5-0, had their bye week, missed the playoffs. And I can't wait to watch it happen. So hopefully this next week, I won't have to talk about them at all, and they'll be out of the power rankings.
Yeah.
But I still think, like every year, a good team probably have a winning record. They'll be 9-8.
Win some games they're not supposed to win.
9-8, maybe 10-7. Probably miss the playoffs. Maybe get lucky, and some other teams will crap the bed here and there, and they'll get in as a wild card. But I think that they end up third in the division.
Yeah, I agree. And the trend continues of teams that play the Lions lose the following week. Yep. Also lose the following game because the Cowboys had a bye week and then lost.
Who? Oh, damn it. Okay. That was what I was about to ask.
What?
About, because they played, I couldn't remember what team it was. Obviously, it was the Cowboys that played them, had a bye, and then came back.
Yeah, Cowboys, they lost.
Great. So, I guess it's going to be up to, well.
You guys have the bye after, but apparently
it doesn't matter. Oh, I was going to say it's going to be up to Green Bay to break that, but they've got, maybe the Titans can pull one out this week.
Yeah. Moving on to my number 8 team, I have the Houston Texans. They lost, like we said, Diggs for the season. Obviously, Collins has been out. I still think they're a contender. I don't know. I'm kind of undecided if I think they're going to make a move for a wide receiver or not. Like we said, they had a lot of depth, but they don't really have with Collins coming back, I guess they have a... Yeah, with Collins,
Woods, they got a couple people coming back. I think they probably... I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know what, because I haven't watched enough Texans games, but I think they would be better off elsewhere if they're going to make a move at the deadline or before.
Yeah, they beat the Colts this week in a close game.
Mm-hmm. One of those games that shouldn't have been so close.
Yeah. Yep. And then at my number 7, I had the Eagles. We mentioned Hurts playing really well. Actually has 9 touchdowns and no turnovers since week 5. Which is very impressive. And then this week he became the only quarterback in all of NFL history with 3 rushing touchdowns in 3 separate games. So it's pretty impressive also. I'm not sure how many.
He ran for 3 touchdowns in that?
3 rushing touchdowns this week. But yeah, playing really well. That's kind of gone under the radar a little bit.
I didn't realize he had 3. Yeah. I I don't care. The Eagles are fine. I don't care for them. I don't pay a ton of attention. So that completely, I knew I saw one highlight of one of his tush push touchdown he had in that game, but I did not know anything about the other two.
Yeah. So yeah, Eagles playing a lot better. But I said it's going to come down to them and the Commanders in that division.
Yeah.
Should be a fun race to watch down the stretch.
Yeah. At number 7, I've got the Texans. Looks like they lost Diggs for. When I did this, I didn't realize that it was confirmed that he had tore his ACL, so put for a little bit, but it sounds like season, obviously. And they barely beat an average Colt team with Richardson playing terribly, so knocked them down a little bit. But obviously, still good. I think they'll be fine, and they're gonna obviously get a bunch of their pieces back here soon. So they'll be all right. At number 6, I got the Commanders. Jaden, ton of fun to watch. I like him a lot. Like I said earlier, clearly best QB out of the draft. But they just barely beat the Bears. So I didn't feel like I could move them up too much. Obviously, still good defense. And obviously, in that game, Daniels was still a little bit injured, but I didn't think that game should have been so close.
Yeah.
So couldn't get them up much higher than 6.
Yeah. My number 6 team is the Baltimore Ravens this week. Obviously, a bad loss to a bad team.
Yeah.
I still think they're one of the top teams in the league, but just because they have had 2 really bad losses already this season, the Raiders and the Browns, not great.
I forgot about the Raiders.
Yeah. Their defense actually is maybe the worst in quite a while.
Yeah. Usually they're one of those defensive teams, but they're definitely more of an offensive team this year.
Kyle Hamilton, obviously elite, but dropped a game. What would have been a game-sealing interception. Mm-hmm. That's rough. But even regardless, you shouldn't be in that situation against the Browns.
So right.
Jameis Winston, who is, I guess, talented, but not a world beater.
No.
So, I dropped them down to number 6 this week. And then at number 5, I have the Packers. Just keep finding ways to win, which is the good news. Bad news being barely squeaked out a win against the Jaguars, who are obviously...
Yeah. I didn't like that.
Not great.
That didn't feel like a win this Sunday.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy after that game.
Yeah, I can imagine. Love had it was a good play by the defender. Also feel like it was a little bit of a poor decision on the interception in the red zone.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the Jaguars gave it right back.
It's weird he's not known for that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't throw many picks.
Yeah. Brett Favre's second coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully not sending...
dick pics and...
Yeah.
And just housing oxys. And stealing welfare money. Not a great look. But onto that, or back to that Favre comparison. People got real upset with LaFleur that he defended Love on that. When someone made a Favre comparison to LaFleur in one of his press conferences, and he, I don't remember exactly what he said, but like defended Love a little bit, and the way he responded to it was maybe a little negative towards Favre, but I just took it as Favre threw a ton of interceptions, and that was the only thing they were talking about. So, but no, a lot of people got upset. Someone wrote a long article about how apparently that made LaFleur like super arrogant and didn't know his football history, and he should like read up and blah blah blah. I'm like, holy mackerel, chill.
Yeah.
I too had them at 5. Love just stays having annoying little injuries, so hard to move him up higher because you don't know if he's going to play right now or not. And last week I said they have a kicker, question mark. This week I say they have a kicker with exclamation point. So that's super dope. Back-to-back game winners for McManus.
Can't ask for a much better start.
No.
Out of him.
So I'm excited. I'm starting to trust kicker again. I spoiled way too long with quarterbacks in Mason. So this year and 6 games that I had to deal with shoddy kicking, didn't like it.
Yeah.
But the defense wasn't great last week. Obviously, gave up way too many points to the Jaguars, but they were back to getting takeaways. And Malik has proven to be, for them, a great backup. So I'm liking it. My number 4, I got Buffalo. Josh Allen is still playing great. He finally threw an interception, but
Oh, did he?
yeah,
I didn't see that.
but defense played great. Held the Seahawks, who have been good, to 10 points, and they won. 31-10 to the Seahawks, who were good. So
who had a big win the week before.
Yeah, they're looking good. So I got them at 4.
At my number 4, I had the Commanders. I thought that Daniels was still a little hampered by his injury on Sunday, and they obviously settled for too many field goals, but I thought they were clearly the better team, and I do believe that the Bears are a pretty good team. So thought that 4 was a good spot for them this week. Then at number 3, I had the Buffalo Bills. Like you said, Josh Allen playing very clean, very good football. Maybe the MVP frontrunner right now. Definitely up there in the conversation. Yeah. Yeah, well, they don't have a
I feel like this is the
big name number 1 wide receiver this year,
him.
so I feel like it's been kind of good for him not having to force it into
Stephon.
a diva wide receiver like Diggs.
Yeah, I liked Diggs for a while, but a few little things here and there that I was look past, but then trying to start fights with Packers for the game. Did chill.
Yeah. I will say I heard reports that the Texans were pretty happy with his attitude and the way he had been this year, so far as that he was basically willing to do whatever it took to help the team win. So
probably until he went and pissed that secondary off and
the Packers.
Yeah. And then made them do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So I had the Bills at number 3.
And then I've still got Baltimore up at 3. So I took a little bit of a different approach to their loss. Every team loses in that situation, it seems like. Kind of a trap game. Also, this proven vet coming in to back up. For some reason, they always come out just slanging. And I don't think I picked Cleveland to win when we did our picks, but there was part of me that was like, I don't know, man, Jameis. And I said last week after the Deshaun thing, I'm like, they're going to probably be fun to watch. And because Jameis is good. Jameis is not super responsible, but he throws for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. So I was wondering. So I didn't hold it against him. I don't think, like I said, I think most teams, if not all teams, lose in that situation. For whatever reason, it's just some weird law of football.
Yeah.
So I still kept them at 3.
Real quick before you move on from them, I think they are the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL, and the Broncos, who they play this week, are the number 1 scoring defense. So it's kind of unstoppable force meets a movable object this weekend. Yeah. We'll see. I don't have a ton of faith in you that do the sports books, as we'll talk about in a minute, in Denver, but should be an interesting game to watch. If the Broncos can keep that one close or even win it, then I'll definitely be buying in.
That would be sweet. Number 2, Kansas City. Finally moved them down.
There you go.
Patrick sucked a little less, but all around still great. And unfortunately, they're only getting better with guys coming back from injury and getting D-Hop and Uche. So they're going to stay winning. But it's just Vegas. And yeah, it wasn't like they were in
Vegas
there. Vegas was in there for me. Yeah, I mean that was weird. But so fun. Got them down to 2. Feels good. Which means
I did not have the courage.
I have more faith in your team than you do. The Carolina Panthers. I got them at number 1. No, Detroit. That game was so bizarre, and
it was a strange game.
They were so dominant yet not. It didn't make sense. Were they 52 to what? So like 14. Okay, but they do have some room for improvement. They still only had 1 sack that game, so pass rush could use some help. Obviously, phenomenal special teams performance. Khalif, all of a sudden, best returner in the history. Devin Hester, better than. Offense didn't do a ton. I feel like any time where you'd see on a stat sheet, offense had 225 yards, punted 5 times, you'd be like, oh, well, they probably lost.
Right.
They probably got 12 points because the offense was stunk. But no, they put up 52 points. So that didn't make a ton of sense. And I mean, it was just Tennessee, but that was almost 40-point blowout. So
yeah. That was a really weird game.
I felt comfortable.
Titans came out hot. Calvin Ridley had like 125 yards in the first quarter, which that's wild.
On the first drive.
Yeah. that's hard to do.
Yeah. Never been done before.
Yeah. I saw a stat. Like I said, I didn't have the courage to move the Lions up to number 1 yet. Just trying to show respect for the Chiefs. Don't want to be biased moving the Lions up over the reigning champs that haven't lost a game yet. But I had the Lions at number 2. I feel like they're playing the best football from top to bottom. Kind of have shown that they can win in a multitude of ways. This week was special teams with very little bit of offense sprinkled in. But they did take advantage of I think they started 5 possessions inside the 30 or inside the red zone.
Did they?
Which was a record for a game. That's insane.
I guess that'll keep your yards down.
Yeah. 2 turnovers in the red zone, or whatever the range was for the Panthers, and the 2 or 3 long returns was the 5.
Titans.
Oh, what did I say?
Panthers.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe question if I said it wrong. All right. Yeah, Titans.
Titans, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, like you said, 225 total yards, but absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
Didn't miss Jamison Williams this week. Had 6 different players with touchdowns.
Hopefully
Raymond with 2.
They continue to not miss him because who knows if he's covered for coming back now. Probably going to prison. Just kidding.
Well, if they let Rashee Rice continue to play, they better let Jamison Williams continue to play because it sounds like he did have the paperwork. His guns were legal. He just didn't have the paperwork on him. So
right. But yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. Regardless, can't have it under your seat.
Right.
But I don't feel like people usually go to prison for that.
No.
So I think he'll be fine, but I don't know. We'll see if there's more suspension or not for that. I don't know. I guess I don't know what they usually do in those weapons situations.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah.
But I had the Chiefs at number 1. Their defense is elite, and they just added a new pass rusher, like we said. They're top 5 in both yards per game and points per game. They make red zone stands, timely turnovers. Their offense is only going to get better. D-Hop's going to get more acclimated to the offense. Kelsey's started to play better. Obviously, National Tight Ends, they helped. Schemed up some plays for him. But, yeah, so that rounds out my top 10. Had the Falcons, Cardinals, Steelers, and Broncos just outside.
This was the one week I was going to be able to put the Lions over the Chiefs because next week's not going to go so good.
Make a little wager on that.
Yeah.
Now let's get to Pigskin Prophecies, the segment where we unveil our picks for this week's NFL clashes, break down key matchups, analyze the stats, and make our bold predictions. Who will rise to the occasion and who will fall short? Starting off with a quick review of our Week 8 picks. I had a bit of a rough week. Let you gain some ground on me there.
Yes, I did.
First game, Thursday Night Football.
Smart. King in the castle.
Minnesota against the Rams. I had Minnesota winning and covering the spread on that one, and Rams won outright. Which
listen to his own stats.
It's true. Also, didn't know Puka was going to be back when we made the pick, so that didn't help either. as soon as they announced he was playing, I felt pretty bad about that pick. But, yeah, you gained one on me there. Titans and Lions. I feel like I should get more than 1 point, more than half a point for this one. You had Tennessee covering the spread, and they were not close. But
all you picked was that they were going to cover the spread. You didn't say they're going to win by 30. The
spread was 11.
Yeah, so. It was. Which I didn't think they
which
covered.
Is a big spread.
Felt like a trap game. It was the one time a team was very prepared for the trap game.
Yeah. I feel like
kudos.
Campbell, that's like one of his best features.
He just stays on all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like he lets them fall into track games. But moving on to the Packers-Jaguars. Packers are favored by 4.5.
Definitely thought that was easily coverable, but apparently not.
Yeah. We were both very shocked at that line, but apparently Vegas knew something that we didn't.
They knew Love was going to go down in the third quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, Jaguars
and the
covered in that
was
one.
Going to show up.
Right. Then Cardinals-Dolphins, we both picked that one wrong. Both had the Dolphins winning, and Cardinals came out with the victory there. Falcons-Buccaneers. Buccaneers played better than I thought they would without their top two wide receivers. Baker is he's a stud.
He is.
I like him. I like watching him. Mm-hmm. Then Ravens and Browns. We both had the Ravens. Everybody did. They were favored by almost 10 points.
Yep. And
good for Cleveland.
Yeah.
Then Colts Texans. You correctly picked the Texans to cover. I had Houston covering the spread, which they won the game but did not cover. So that was a tie for me. Jets Patriots. We have not picked the Jets game correctly yet. I don't think
because they're so bad, way more bad than they should be.
Way more batter. Just good ingredients, bad recipe.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, I think they lost out on opportunity for the playoffs. I don't see them. They're gonna have to go 8-1.
Yeah,
the rest of the week.
They have to make a historic one, which isn't uncommon with Rodgers, but
yeah, but that team's terrible.
Yeah, no, this is different than the past years. This is way worse.
And then we had the Eagles taking on the Bengals. I thought the Bengals were working their way back, and Philadelphia proved me wrong. You had Philadelphia winning that one, so it's a good pick by you. Saints at Chargers. Chargers won and covered. You had the Saints covering.
Yeah, that was a big spread, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chargers are favored by 7.5 on that one.
Saints are way worse than I thought.
Yeah, they're terrible. I did hear that Derek Carr might be coming back this week, so a little pick me up.
Yeah.
But still don't think they're very good.
Better than a rattlesnake. Rattler. That's just what I think every time I hear his name.
He lost me on that one. Then we had the Bears Commanders. We both picked Chicago with an asterisk and said that if Jaden Daniels plays, that Washington would win. Yep. Which they did, and they covered in the spread because I think it was only a half-point spread, so basically a pick-em game.
Yeah.
Broncos Panthers. Broncos were favored by 9, which is a big spread for
the Broncos.
Yeah. I think we said it was their biggest spread in quite a while, but
they did it.
Yeah, they covered.
They covered our ass.
Much to J.C. Horn's chagrin. He was apparently gotten a little shouting match with Sean Payton for running up the score when the Broncos were up 14, which in the NFL is not a wide margin. So
nope, run it up.
Get bent there, JC.
Also, it's the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
You always score.
He was apparently mad the Broncos ran a fake field goal up by 14. Get over it.
Whatever.
Stop it.
Just be better.
Yeah, I was irritated by that.
Don't suck.
Which also the Panthers owner has video out of him arguing with some Broncos fans and requesting that security have them escorted from the stadium. Grow a pair, buddy.
Dude.
Also probably why they didn't trade Deontay Johnson to the Broncos like I was hoping for. So that terrible trade they made was probably a screw you to the Broncos.
Probably.
I'm just going to believe that even if it's not true.
Hey, you heard it here.
You heard it here.
That's a fact.
Sources.
our sources tell us that this is what happened.
Yep. Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs were favored by 10. I thought they would cover because Raiders are terrible. They did not, but won the game.
I think they won.
Tie for me. You had Vegas covering the spread. Good call. Big spread on that one. Cowboys at 49ers. I don't know why, but we picked the Cowboys. After
I think it's
watching them
because
get drubbed by the Lions.
Yeah, but like, you don't think that Dak and CD are gonna keep second, which they didn't.
Yeah, they were pretty good. CD had a pretty good game.
I don't know why the rest of the team sucked.
Well, they have no running game to speak of.
That's true.
Even with Dalvin Cook coming back,
They have like 4 different washed running backs. Why can't any of them figure it out?
Yeah, after last season, I was kind of thinking that Tony Pollard is not as good as some people made him out to be, but honestly, what he was able to do with that team last year maybe was more impressive than I realized.
Yeah.
And then the last game of the week was Giants at Steelers. You correctly picked the Steelers to cover the spread on that one. I had the Giants covering the spread, Pittsburgh winning. Probably my bias against Russ, but that's a very good all-around team.
Yeah. I guess it showed me enough that his first week back that I was like, oh, he might be back.
Yeah.
Looks like he might be.
Which moves our overall records to Brett 25-13-7, myself 28-8-9. So still a little bit of a cushion, but got much closer this week.
I'm coming for you, and I've done no prep for this part. Busy week at work, so I'm picking them on the fly.
That's all right. Week 9, Thursday Night Football, starting off with the Texans sitting at 6-2, traveling to New Jersey to take on the 2-6 Jets. Oh. And for some reason, the Jets are favored. Makes no sense.
No.
Although last time we said that, Vegas was right, so maybe we don't know what we're talking about. But
maybe Vegas knows that this is the week that they figure it out.
Yeah. But Houston, obviously, down their top 2 wide receivers. We've said that enough. But yeah, I still believe they're the better team.
You know what?
I'm not going to do it again.
I'm going to do it one more time.
Okay.
Something in me is telling me that...
Probably food poisoning.
Without... I did have a gas station Crispitos on my way here because I was in a rush.
That's definitely it.
I got the bubble guts. No, not actually. But, down both of them. Barely winning this last week. Starting to feel like maybe they're just the Bengals, but a little bit better.
Houston?
Yeah. Hot take. But, I'm just going to take Jets because I need to also make up some ground on him. So hopefully, don't freaking do it to me again, guys.
Moving on to Sunday. No morning game again. Got 1 o'clock slate starting off with the Cowboys sitting at 3-4 at the 5-3 Falcons. Atlanta favored by 2.5 in that one. I have Atlanta winning and covering the spread.
Yeah, 2.5 is easy to cover.
Dallas is just not doing it for me right now, which is perfectly fine with me.
I hate him.
Especially after Jerry Jones' radio interview a couple weeks ago on him threatening to get the radio host fired for asking him non-layup questions.
Behavior.
Pitiful.
Yeah.
How are you a billionaire and get that in your feelings about? It wasn't even an offensive question.
No, I still like McCarthy, but the rest of that organization, I don't know what started. I don't know if it's just because Skip Bayless loves them, but that definitely helps my hatred for them.
Yeah, that's a good reason to hate anything.
Anything Skip likes, I don't.
Moving on, I got the 2-6 Raiders traveling to Cincinnati to take on the 3-5 Bengals. Cincinnati favored by 7.5 in that one. Big spread.
They don't blow teams out. I'm going to say they win, but they don't cover the spread.
Okay. I had Cincinnati winning and covering the spread if Higgins is back. He was a late scratch last week. I feel like those 2 wide receivers really that's important to what they do.
Yeah.
And
I didn't think about him coming back. I forgot he was kind of questionable this week. Maybe gonna because I don't want to change it to yours just because that information I'm going to keep it. They don't cover. Even if she's back, I guess. I think they will.
Burrow said in an interview today that he believes that they have to go, what would it be, 7-2 down the stretch to make the playoffs, which he said is doable in his mind. So, going to have to start it off with a win at Vegas. I think they win convincingly. Next, we got the 6-2 Commanders at the New York Giants.
Oh.
2-5. Washington favored by 3.5.
That's it? They're going to cover that.
Yep, I already put money on that one before the line moves. Yeah, I also had Washington winning and covering fairly easily. Giants didn't look too bad this past week, but Washington, just a better team.
Yeah, they just need to move on from Daniel.
Yeah.
All they can talk about it. He's tough. Certain point, that's not enough anymore.
Cool. There's a lot of tough guys out there that can't play quarterback in the NFL.
That's right, and Daniel Jones is one of them.
Next, we got the 2-6 Patriots at the Tennessee Titans, who sit at 1-6. So that's probably gonna bring
America's
in the
game
ratings.
of the week?
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't know how that one wasn't
push that Lions-Packers game out of there and put that in.
Tennessee favored by 3.5. With New England coming off a big win. I think if Drake May is back, that they would actually win outright.
I'm
not impressed with Tennessee this week.
I'm the opposite. I think if Brissett is still starter, they win. I think regardless they win. I don't think Tennessee wins that. Regardless, they win.
Got the 5-3 Broncos taking on the 5-3 Ravens. I don't think anybody saw that those teams would have the Broncos are ahead of the Ravens in the standings right now.
Ooh.
Which is wild. And probably not going to last because Vegas has the line set at 9.5 for the Ravens, which is a large spread when you're going against a 5-3 team, but I can't say that I blame them.
No, I think Baltimore wins, but I don't think they cover that. That's a good defense.
I agree.
They're not missing any pieces I don't know about, are they?
Denver?
Yeah. No one on defense hurt?
Not that I know of. I mean, They are missing pieces in the sense that they don't have any weapons on offense. Sure. But the weapons that they've had for the season, they still have.
Like, their defense is all healthy.
Surtain's been battling an injury, but I almost guarantee he plays.
Oh, if he doesn't play, that changes things because Surtain is a dog.
Yeah. No, I believe he's playing. So, I also have Baltimore winning, but Denver covering. Maybe wishful thinking, but we shall see. Next, we have the 2-5 Dolphins traveling to face off against the 6-2 Buffalo Bills in a divisional matchup. Dolphins in danger of falling out of
playoff contention.
Yeah,
and I think that they do this week.
Think they fall out?
Yep, I think Buffalo's going to beat them.
Buffalo's favored by 6.5, so Vegas would concur with that opinion. I agree. I think Buffalo wins. Are playing real well. I think Tua back for another week will be improved, but obviously I have Buffalo in my top 3 teams for a reason. I think that they can cover that spread.
I can't decide. I think they cover.
Next, we have the 2-6 Saints at the 1-7 Panthers. Another ratings bonanza there. New Orleans favored by 7.
Honestly, this one was
more exciting. I have a feeling they believe that Carr is going to be back.
Also, I think the main thing is that they believe that New Orleans is going to be playing the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
And that alone is enough to favor anyone by at least 7. Yeah,
Panthers no longer have Deontay Johnson. Also, they didn't play last week, but
I think New Orleans covers that.
Agreed. And that's a matchup of the last 2 teams to lose to the Broncos. So, 4-3 Chargers are traveling to face off against the Cleveland Browns, who sit at 2-6, and the Chargers are favored by 2 in that one. I have the Chargers winning and covering.
I think I think so too. I think they'll cover. Jameis will still be good, but it's not that first week back, and that's the week that they're always the hottest.
Yeah, I do think that I think that's a proper line. I think the Browns keep it close, but obviously, if I'm picking the Chargers to win, I'm probably going to cover a 2-point spread. Moving on to the 4 o'clock window, I have the 4-3 Chicago Bears at the 4-4 Arizona Cardinals. Arizona favored by 1 in that one.
I think they'll win and not cover.
You think they cover? Ooh,
just kidding.
Hot take and win by half a point.
Yep. No, obviously covering. Yeah, I think they got that.
Agreed. Maybe we're being a little biased, but
also I think the
Cardinals had a big win this week. Playing good.
Yeah.
Kyler's fun to watch.
He is.
Also funny to
just
watch.
Just a little guy running around with it.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison kind of come back on hot last couple weeks.
Yep.
After a couple lackluster weeks.
Maybe he's not a bust.
Got the 2-6 Jaguars facing off against the 5-2 Eagles. Eagles favored by 7.5 in that one.
Well, we learned this last week that the Jaguars are actually contenders. That's why they hung in that game so
Very
much.
Good.
No, I think Philly wins. I don't think they cover. 7.5. I don't think they cover. I don't think they keep blowing out teams like that. And obviously, Jags can do a little bit of something. Maybe they're starting. Not that I think they're figuring out to be good. I just think that maybe they're improving a little bit. Maybe it's biased, and I don't want to just think that my team crapped the bed last week. But there's a few things where they look like an NFL team, not a good one, but an NFL team. So
yeah, I think and I hope that the Eagles cover the spread in that one. I'm hoping that Jacksonville goes into a fire sale. I like a couple of their pass rushers for Detroit to target. Also, Christian Kirk being out for the season, just another weapon they don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
covering that one.
I had already forgot about the Kirk thing. Yeah, whatever.
The big game of the week, at least for us, the 6-1 Lions at the 6-2 Packers. Really hoping Jordan Love plays. It's gonna be a fun game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Texted him earlier in the week. Feel like it's a big game for the Packers. Being at home.
Yeah.
No Jameson.
Yeah.
I think they kind of have to win that one. Don't want to fall to 0-2 in the division also.
Yeah, you definitely want to be 0-2 in the division.
Obviously, we've seen them lose in Lambeau and then win Detroit. It happened last year, but...
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I think...
sorry, Lions favored by 3.5. I don't know if I said that.
Oh.
They were favored by 4.5. Moved down probably after the Jordan Love bit of positive injury news.
Yeah. I think if Jordan plays... I think they win that game if he plays.
It's exactly what I had. Green Bay with an asterisk. If Jordan Love plays, I think they win outright.
Yeah, I think being at home. I think so. That's tough. I think so. I hope so. I'm taking them.
Wow, picking against your number one team.
Yeah.
So much for having.
Like I said, this was their 1 week to be number one.
Yeah.
So then Chiefs are probably going to do some crazy shit and win huge and get to move back into my number one, and then Green Bay will sit comfortably at number 2.
Well, we will get to it, but Vegas believes that Kansas City will win huge. Next, we have the 3-4 Rams. All of a sudden, looking dangerous.
Not dangerous. Dangerous.
No.
Regular danger.
Be careful, it's spicy. Facing off against the 4-4 Seahawks. The Rams favored by 1.5 in that one. And I think I have the Rams winning and covering.
Yeah.
They looked
good.
Very impressive last week. Stafford was on a heater. Obviously very happy to have his weapons back.
Yeah.
And that passing game opens up the field for Kyren, who one of the top running backs in the league.
Mm-hmm. He's still so young too.
So had the Rams winning that one.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Sunday night football. We have the 4-4 Colts. Joe Flacco at the helm at the 5-2 Vikings. Minnesota favored by 5.5 in that one. And I did check that line after Flacco was named the starter. A little surprised. Flacco obviously looked very good last year coming in for the Browns. And I think the Colts have a roster on par with what Cleveland had last year, at least.
I'm gonna hope that this law holds true, and Flacco's gonna come out and just tear them up. And I'm gonna let my biases and my hatred for the Vikings make me pick the Colts.
All right, we're to cover.
Outright, they're gonna win.
Gotcha.
Minnesota's dropping to 5-3.
I have Indy covering, but Minnesota winning. Close game. Hope I'm wrong. And then last game of the week, got Monday Night Football, the 4-4 Buccaneers at the 7-0 Chiefs, who I already mentioned are favored by quite a bit. They're favored by 8.5 in that one at home.
I want my boy Baker to take them down.
As much as I want to pick Tampa Bay, I think the Chiefs cover. I think they're just getting better every week.
You know what? They fell into the trap. They had too many good pieces. Tampa's going to win this one.
Gotta hate it when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Think Tampa Bay wins?
Yeah! I gotta make up some more ground.
Beautiful.
I gotta make up some more ground, and that feels like a good spot to do that.
There you go. I hope you're right. I will gladly give up the ground to watch
Where's
Kansas
that one?
City lose.
That one's at Kansas City?
At Arrowhead, yeah.
Frick. No, I'm leaving it. Baker's gonna clean up the turnovers, and he's gonna have another 5-touchdown game.
Don't know who he's throwing to, but
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He threw to people last week.
It's true. Another good performance.
Yep.
Next week we'll be coming to you with some awards predictions.
Yeah, we're
mid-season awards predictions and maybe some playoff and Super Bowl picks.
Yeah.
And the like. So
we
be sure to tune in.
Delayed too long and didn't get to do our preseason picks, so we'll get you some mid-season picks, and might have a special guest next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully
we have a lot of trade news, trade deadline.
Yeah, well, it'll be
when we record or shortly after.
Shortly
before we record.
Yeah, deadline's Tuesday, so
yep.
At 4 p.m., right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, so
time.
that'll all wrap up right before. So a little bit different episode. Might be longer. Maybe we'll do 2.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards longer. Let's do a nice fat 2-hour episode. It'll be sick. So, all right. Well, yeah, we'll see you next weekend. Like, share, comment, do all the things.
See you next week.